One of those companies that everyone aspires to work with is NASA. They work tirelessly to achieve the unachievable, to bridge the gap between what is thought to be humanly possible, and they literally boldly go where no man has gone before. It's simply a matter of time before NASA explores every planet and nook of space. The work of NASA is well known to a large number of individuals. However, the majority of people probably have no idea how much money NASA spends yearly. In this video, we'll look at NASA's annual expenses. About NASA, the National Aeronautics and Space Administration is known as NASA. On July 29, 1958, NASA was established and operations commenced on October 1, 1958 as a branch of the U.S. government. Along with conducting aeronautics and aerospace research, NASA is in charge of the American Civilian Space Program. NACA, or the National Advisory Committee for Aeronautics, was replaced by NASA. The National Advisory Committee for Aeronautics, NACA, started testing rocket aircraft, like the supersonic Bell X-1, in 1946. The launch of an artificial satellite by Russia during the International Geophysical Year presented a difficulty in the early 1950s. The Sputnik crisis, which the U.S. Congress regarded as a danger to national security and technical leadership, called for urgent and decisive action. This led to America looking for a significant shift in public opinion towards space exploration to catch up to the Soviet Union. The Advanced Research Projects Agency (RPA), established in February 1958 to develop space technology for military use, would manage all non-military space operations. Following that, President Eisenhower signed the National Aeronautics and Space Act, creating NASA, on July 29, 1958. On October 1, 1958, NASA officially took over the 43-year-old NACA in full, including all of its 8,000 employees, $100 million annual budget, 3 significant research labs, and 2 small test facilities. A lot of the early space initiatives from RPA and earlier research projects from the U.S. Air Force were also moved to NASA. The Jet Propulsion Laboratory, a contractor facility run by the California Institute of Technology, came under the jurisdiction of NASA in December 1958. Washington, D.C. serves as NASA's main office. The NASA Field Centers are managed by NASA headquarters in Washington, D.C., which also sets management guidelines and evaluates every aspect of the IS program. Employees in NASA's civil service must be citizens of the United States, barring unusual circumstances. The administrator of NASA is a senior space science advisor to the President of the United States and is appointed by the President of the United States, subject to U.S. Senate approval. Since May 3, 2021, Bill Nelson, a Joe Biden appointment, has served as the current administrator. The agency's 9 centers, the Jet Propulsion Laboratory, and 7 test and research facilities are dispersed across numerous states in the nation. For NASA, there are more than 18,000 employees. A wide range of jobs are represented by the whole workforce. Throughout its history, NASA has run numerous robotic and unmanned spaceflight initiatives. Researchers at NASA explore the solar system and even further afield. These programs also dispatched scientific probes to investigate the planets of the solar system, beginning with Venus and Mars, and including grand tours of the outer planets. The solar system and Earth have been the subject of more than 1,000 unmanned missions. Human explorers will be sent to the Moon and eventually Mars as part of NASA's new mission. The Planetary Science Robotic Spacecraft solutions are created and delivered through the NASA Discovery program. With the aid of Discovery, scientists and engineers can put together a team to develop a solution in response to a specified set of goals and submit that answer in a competitive bid against other prospective programs. Cost caps vary, however. A $500 million NASA cost cap was used recently to select missions. Both the Discovery and New Frontiers missions are overseen by the Planetary Mission Program Office, which has its headquarters at the NASA Marshall Space Flight Center. However, the Da Vinci and Veritas missions beat rival plans for missions to Jupiter's volcanic moon Io and Neptune's big moon Triton, that was also selected as Discovery Program finalists in early 2020. According to NASA Administrator Bill Nelson's announcement on June 2, 2021, launches are anticipated to take place between 2028 and 2030, with each mission costing an estimated $500 million. Later on in the development of each mission, launch contracts will be given out. How much money NASA spends every year? The National Aeronautics and Space Administration, NASA, is a federal organization that gets its financing from the annual federal budget approved by the U.S. Congress. The federal financial amounts are given to NASA annually over the course of its existence to pursue initiatives in aeronautics research, robotic spaceflight, technological development, and human space exploration programs. The portion of NASA's budget allocated to the government is far larger than it actually is. Americans' average projections for NASA's share of the federal budget were 20%, according to a 1997 survey, which is much higher than the actual 0.5% to under 1% that had been maintained throughout the late 1990s and early 2000s. NASA invested approximately $5 billion in American manufacturing in fiscal year 2012, with nearly $2 billion of that amount going to the technology sector, according to a 2013 analysis produced for NASA by the Tory Group. Additionally, NASA creates and commercializes technology, some of which have the potential to bring in more than $1 billion annually over a number of years. The Penny for NASA campaign, started in 2012 by John Zeller and inspired by Tyson's lobbying remarks, calls for doubling NASA's budget to 1% of the federal budget, or 1 penny on the dollar. NASA and the government came under fire from the American Helicopter Society in 2014 for cutting the annual rotorcraft budget from $50 million in 2000 to $23 million in 2013, which had an adverse effect on business potential. According to the 2017 Economic Impact Report produced by NASA for its Small Business Innovation Research and Small Business Technology Transfer Awards, the program's initial $172.9 million investment resulted in the creation of 2,412 jobs, $474 million in economic output, and $57.3 million in fiscal impact in fiscal year 2016. More than the combined expenditures of nations like China, Russia, Japan, India, Italy, the UK, and the EU. The total American government spending on space programs in 2021 was $54.59 billion. In the fiscal year 2021, NASA generated more than $71.2 billion in revenue, which is 3 times its yearly budget. In the fiscal year 2022, NASA's budget increased by 3%, reaching $24 billion. Even still, it fell short of the 7% increase that the Biden administration had requested. The Biden administration proposes to raise NASA's spending for the fiscal year 2023 by 8%, or over $26 billion. Spending on space is still increasing. The largest modular space station that is currently in low Earth orbit is the International Space Station, which has been continuously inhabited by people for more than 22 years and will remain so at least until 2030. Since its inception in 1984, the project has cost upwards of $72.7 billion. Again, Artemis 3 mission is scheduled to launch at the earliest in 2025. By November 2021, NASA had already invested roughly $40 billion in Artemis. By 2025, the entire cost is anticipated to be $93 billion. So, what do you think about NASA's spending budget? Please give the video a thumbs up and feel free to share your thoughts in the comment section, and subscribe to our channel to learn more fascinating global facts.